Hello, social media. It's Stephen Middleton coming to you from the Possibility Action Network. Our mantra is I am, I can, and I will. And I am Possibility Man. Have you ever had a moment when it seems as if the universe itself is having a conversation with you? Well, I had one of those moments. In fact, I've been having this moment over the last couple of days. And it's as if the universe asked me a question. And the question was this: are you smarter than a circus elephant? Now, I am repeating that question for myself. And perhaps you will ask yourself the same question. Am I smarter than a circus elephant? So I did some research on that question that was put to me. I'm going to share my findings with you. First of all, I looked at the training or the theory of training elephants. The theory insists that elephants must be trained when they're small. They'll struggle at first once they're tied down, but eventually an elephant, a baby elephant, will realize that it cannot break away from the stake in the ground or from the tree that it is tied to. And the theory continues. If this baby elephant discovers that it has leverage as it toes against this object in the ground, then what's needed is then that a kind of torture chamber, in a sense, be put around its neck. And when it pulls away, those spikes will dig into its neck until the baby elephant gets the message that it just can't break away unless it endures a great deal of pain. So the baby elephant gets the message that there's nothing that it can do and be comfortable. Imagine a child going with a parent, let's say with his father, let's say one of my children, going with me to the zoo when they were small. And one of my children saw this huge elephant tied to a small stake in the ground. I can imagine one of my children asking, well, Dad, why doesn't this elephant just walk away? And this is how I believe I would have responded to them at the time. And I'm going to read to you what I would have said. They can't, son or daughter. I also have a girl. They don't know how strong they are. They think they are tied down and believe they are trapped by that little rope. That is, the baby elephant believed that he or she was tied down. And they believed that they could not break away from that little rope wrapped around the stake in the ground. Now, imagine a full-size elephant. We're talking about an animal, if it's a male, that could weigh well over 8,000 pounds, that has the power to pull, a tractor and trailer filled with cargo. But the baby elephant, when it's tied to that stake, doesn't believe that it could do so because they think the rope can still hold them. So they never try to break free. Now, in the medical world, there's a term that's used to describe this condition. It's called Menticide. I'll pronounce it again in case you want to look it up. It's called Menticide. And a dictionary definition of menticide would go something like this. It's the systematic effort to undermine and destroy, in the case that we're talking about, an animal's ability to think that it could choose a different course for itself. Now, in the case of a human being, it would be something like, it's the effort to undermine and to destroy a person's values and beliefs and induce radically different ideas in this person's mind. The techniques of doing this could include prolonged interrogation, could include the use of chemicals, and it could also include torture. Now, a layman would say that it's a conditioned behavior, that an animal, in the case of our elephant, or a person could be conditioned to believe a certain thing. And then I looked up conditioned behavior. Here's what I found. A process whereby a response becomes more frequent or predictable in a given environment as a result of reinforcement, typically by some stimulus that included a reward once a person or an animal shows a desired result. Menticide, or a conditioned behavior, is what this animal is faced with. And humans are plagued by the same type of problem. This is what the universe told me, and it was that all sorts of invisible mental ropes can hold an individual down. They don't hold everyone down. Pick two individuals. One individual grew up in the cotton fields back in the day. Another individual grew up in the suburbs. One individual gets a good high school education. Another individual had to struggle for everything that he or she got. The individual from the cotton field didn't get the message about they can't. The individual from the suburbs got the message that they could not, even though they've had some of the best educational experiences available to them. As the universe talks with me about the subject, it said, look, Stephen Middleton, do you make decisions or do you draw conclusions based on outdated data? And it said, that's what the elephant did. You see, the elephant did not upgrade his thinking. The elephant, even though it grew in size, still thought that it was confined by that little stake in the ground and that rope that was wrapped around it. Humans can draw conclusions based upon outdated data. They do not, for example, question their assumptions. They do not evaluate why they seemingly miss opportunities. They do not notice their self-imposed roadblocks. They do not recognize that their ability are simply being wasted because they do not maximize them, do not take advantage of them. And this works out in the lives of individuals, of corporations, of institutions around the world every day. Here's how it can be translated. For example, if someone says, let's try this new product, one person could shoot back and say, we tried this before and it didn't work. Someone could say, for example, something as simple as, well, I've suggested on these lives before that celery juice could be good for us. Someone could say, well, but I tried drinking celery juice 40 years ago, and the celery juice did not produce any results for me. Now, they will not tell you this, that they mix the celery juice with something like apple juice so that they can sweeten it up some. But they're basing a decision based on outdated data, based on data they collected over 40 years ago. Another one could be if an institution, for example, wants to upgrade its alarm systems, just in case of a fire, someone could say, well, we can't afford that. Do you know anyone like that? I can't afford that. You mean you want me to invest in taking care of myself? You want me to buy a stationary bike? Oh, I cannot afford that. This is how limiting beliefs works out in our everyday life. Another, the universe told me, excuse that a person may come up with, and it's not my fault when I do this, because I know that I do it, is that, oh, that's going to take too long. You mean I got to go to the doctor and the doctor gave me a prescription and the doctor may say that it may take a year for this prescription to help me? Oh, that's going to take so long. I'm not taking that drug. Well, that may be a good thing. But I'm not drinking soda juice. You mean I got to wait 6 months before I can see results? It might take too much time. Another excuse the universe was just downloading this into my being is that, oh, that's just too complicated. That's just too complicated. For example, I was told to do these Facebook Lives. My first response was, oh, that's too much work. That's that's too complicated. I'm working on my technology now. And, oh, that's just too complicated. I got this problem, that problem. What am I going to do? And then the clincher for institutions, for organizations, for industry is this one. Oh, that will never work. I had someone tell me that before. I had showcased a business idea to them. Oh, that will never work. That will never work. I've considered sending them my 1099 and let them respond to their claim what would never work. So how do you know then if you're smarter than a circus elephant? How would I know if I'm smarter than a circus elephant? Can I look at a past failure and allow it to remain in the past? That is, what happened 30 years ago has nothing to do with now. What happened 40 years ago? Do you know there's some people who are in their 70s, some organizations that have been around for 75 years will still look to their records and say, 50 years ago, that did not work. And because it didn't work then, it's not going to work now. They're allowing outdated data to control a response and action in the present time. Here's another way to determine if a person or an organization is smarter than a circus elephant. They withhold encouragement in the marketplace of human beings. They say, well, 75 years ago, this group attacked that group. Oh, I'm not going to talk with them. I don't think it's possible for us to cross these artificial barriers because this happened 600 years ago. In some cultures, they go back over 2,000 years to say why they're not going to make an effort to cross cultural barriers. Are they smarter than a circus elephant? Here's a third one. Oh, this really applies to me. Am I willing to change my mind? Let's say that I believed, and I'll tell you a true story, and I'm not the only one. Back in the day, coming out of high school, coming out of the country, I didn't believe that I could be an effective communicator. As I grew older, the universe was putting something into my being saying, hey, young man, become a professional speaker. Become someone who can inspire the masses. And I said, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm afraid of public speaking. At the time, I was not willing to change my mind. So the question is, am I smarter, or was I smarter at that particular time than a circus elephant? Are you willing to change your mind? Yes, I believed that way once, but I've got new information. I've got new data. And based on my new data, I'm not governed by the old news of the past. Have you put off projects because of fear? The fear of loss. I mean, there's some people who are going to say, I don't want to lose $50. I'm not going to risk $50. I asked someone some years ago, I said, if the founders of Walmart Corporation had come to you when they first started and say to you, Walmart is going to be big, real big. I'm going to give you an opportunity to invest $1,000 in this corporation. And I assure you, down the road, you're going to like the results. And I asked this person, what would you do? How would you respond? They were dealing with outdated data. They said, I don't know. I don't know about that. I wouldn't want to risk $1,000. That's a lot of money. I wouldn't want to take a chance. So I asked myself, I'm going to leave it to you to ask yourself this question or not. Am I putting off projects because of fear? The last thing the universe told me, and I'm being told this a lot, especially for those of us who live in the West. And this is especially true for those of us who live in the United States today. Now it's 2021, I know. COVID-19 is going around, I know. There are challenges in the world, I know. There's social unrest in the world, political unrest, cultural unrest, and all the things exist in the world. That's true. But you know something? The United States continues to be the most diverse country in the world. The United States offers people, regardless of their language, regardless of their culture, regardless of their religion, regardless of their appearance, more so than any other country in the world. Bar none. Investigate it for yourself. Now, the mindset of a circus elephant is, well, wait a minute. 100 years ago, this is the way it was. 200 years ago, this is the way it was. It's too hard. That won't work. And that's the mindset I was told that would keep me in bondage. It's a mindset problem. So here in the Possibility Action Network, our mantra is, I am. That is, we declare that we are more than what we see when we look in the mirror. We feel, those of us who are connected to this, that we are more than just flesh and blood. We feel that whatever life is, that life is appearing as us and in us and through us now. And because of this, we declare, I can. Now, it sounds like force, but it's not force. It sounds like I have to be stronger. Being strong is good, but we're not relying on brute strength. We're relying on the principle that that which I am seeking is also seeking me. And the third part of our mantra is, I will. Now, each person has to make the declaration for himself or herself. And I'm asking you, are you willing? If you're up to something big in your life, if you're looking to be smarter than a circus elephant, contact us at the Possibility Action Network. Send me a Facebook friend request. Send me a personal message. I'm eager to connect with you, and I am Possibility Man. Until next time, good day.